Josh Allen is playing football tonight. It's going to be a good one. Going against the lowly Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers, 10.5-point favorites at home. Oh, man, we're going to have to get really creative tonight to get different. That's what we're going to talk about. My name is Tyson Smith, joined by Ellie Hernandez. Ellie, what's going on with you? How were your Thursday night lineups?
Thursday night I did all right. I was hanging in there pretty close to the top. I think I saw you doing okay, but I'm sure you'll have a little humble brag about that here in a second. But no, I was hanging there near the top most of the night, but just fell short. Needed a Tom Brady touchdown to Mike Evans, not Julio Jones.
Dude, that it absolutely killed me. That bullshit. I mean, look, I embrace the garbage time a lot, so hey, I can't complain about it. But my God, Tom Brady jumping into the optimal because of a bullshit Julio Jones touchdown on fourth down. Fuck you. I was in first place the entire second half, jumping between a couple different lineups. But hey, I profited. That's all I can ask for. It is what it is. Isaiah Likely. I don't know that anybody played this lineup here on the left. This is the optimal. Most of the contests that I saw that winners were, I think it was this Kenyon Drake lineup. I don't know. I could be wrong. Either way, these lineups got a little weird. We were at least I was super heavy on Kenyon Drake and Isaiah Likely. Ellie, I know you touted Isaiah Likely like crazy. That was before Mark Andrews went out. I mean, Mark Andrews, you said even with him playing, you were interested. Another thing to think about here, guys, is we talked about the three players that were questionable and talked about, I don't know if I'm super into them. All three of those guys left the game. So when we're talking about questionable players, you got to think, man, they're not messing around with injuries this year, especially if it's a head injury. These guys might just get pulled out. So you can get bold by just fading those guys sometimes. All right, let's look at our first look for this matchup. Look, we're going to get through this pretty quick as we can. Buffalo is favored by 10.5. It's a 46.5 total. It's a medium to lower total than we were used to be seeing in a game like this against Green Bay. Well, because Green Bay is not doing well this year. All the ownership's going to Buffalo, minus 480 on the money line. What do we do here, man? Like, it's obvious that everybody's going to play Josh Allen at captain. They're going to be 4-2s with Josh Allen at captain. How do we get different? And how do we actually put up lineups that are good, that aren't just, dart throws?
Hey, I'm gonna just answer flat out, man. I don't know. When we get to that build part tonight, we're gonna really have to sit down and break it down where we're gonna be able to pivot off of some of the just absolutely obvious chalk. And given the way that this slate is priced, and how much love is coming in on Buffalo's side, like it's just obvious where everybody's gonna go. So we're gonna have to figure out how to get different. But I do think it is important to kind of just think about the spread here. 10.5 points is a lot for an NFL team.
Yeah.
And I know Buffalo is really, really good. But Green Bay still does have Aaron Rodgers. I know he's a piece of shit and the whole thing is weird over there in Green Bay. But yeah, they can click, right?
Still Aaron Rodgers.
They can click. This is an elite quarterback. So it's just something to keep in mind. This game could be a little bit closer than what people are expecting. And honestly, maybe that's how we get different. Like that might be the easiest way to do it. So
yeah, I agree.
I think that's where I'll be starting, man.
I do think that 3-3 lineups, even with Diggs at captain or whatever, will still get you different enough. You put 3 Green Bay Packers in your lineups with that difference in ownership, that might just be enough. Now, if you have Josh Allen at captain, I don't see how you're going to get different unless you play two $200 guys or something just crazy happens in this game. I'm not going to go down that route. I'd rather say, hey, Josh Allen, I know you're going to have a good game, but maybe I could find a guy that has just a little bit better game for his salary. Doesn't mean that particular player needs to be the highest scoring player on the slate. They just need to put up good points for their salary. All right, let's get into our breakdown here. Let's just get right into this, man. Break it down. All right, so we got Josh Allen at 12.2K. Expensive as well he should be. You're talking about, look at these numbers here, man. I mean, just absolutely insane. 30, 39, 24, 30, 32, 33. So, it's only been a handful of games this season, and I'm sure he'll have a down game here and there. Will it be tonight? Who knows? I mean, if you wanted to get absolutely crazy and just burn money, you could fade Josh Allen. It's not something I would ever do. But 12.2K, he's got a high floor. You just have to jam him in, right? I mean, before we get to Aaron Rodgers and what we do with him, just play a Josh Allen in probably 100% of your lineups, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, look, I don't want to spend too much time on this because this is crazy. But look, if you do think the 10.5 is a realistic spread here, that just sounds like Bills are going to be leading for a majority of the game. So maybe they'll rely on this tandem backfield a little bit to kind of dampen up that asking price from the Saints, right? If they can show that, hey, we have a three-headed back here, we're fine. We don't need to go out and trade for Alvin Kamara. So there is that narrative. They may try and give their backs a little bit more run to maybe soften up the trade price for Kamara. But I don't know, man. Play Josh Allen.
Aaron Rodgers is 9,800. Now, we're still talking about Aaron Rodgers, MVP. We know what he can do. If this was last year, I would have 100% Aaron Rodgers as well. But look at what he's got working with him here, man. He's got a 12-point fantasy game, a 5-point. His ceiling this year has been around the 17-point output. I think he's going to break out in one of these games, but they're 3-4. This is a almost do or die game for them if you really think about it. I know it's not technically because they can go on a run later in the year, but 3-5 on the season is not going to be easy to get back into that playoff hunt. And they probably have no chance to in the division if they lose this. So my question to you is, what are we doing with Aaron Rodgers? He's only going to be, 35% owned. Probably no one's putting him in the captain. This is a situation where a quarterback at the captain or a quarterback in the flex, man, putting him in a lot of your lineups can get you a lot of leverage, but it is risky.
Yeah, I actually at his price and his projected ownership, man, I actually kind of do like him a little bit at the captain spot. Um, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, unless Aaron Jones has one of his 5 touchdowns games, which is very possible,
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is what's going to keep Green Bay in this game if it's competitive.
Yeah.
And let's be real, he just talked shit for a week and said that players should get benched. So, like, it'd be really shitty of him to not show up today.
Yeah.
I think he's fine, man. I'm going to play him at flex and I'm going to play him at captain, especially on a discount ownership. Like, whatever, man. Still Aaron Rodgers.
Still Aaron Rodgers, man. I know narrative is a thing, but you're still talking about one of the best quarterbacks ever, and this guy's got something to prove. He's got a chip on his shoulder. Is he 100% mentally into this year? I have no clue. Is his career winding down? Yes, but I still think he can put up a ceiling performance on NBC tonight with the world watching. All right, running backs. Let's start with Green Bay. Aaron Jones, 10.4K. A.J. Dillon, 4,200. His stock has dropped immensely. A.J. Dillon was touted as a 1B to Aaron Jones's 1A, and that has not been how it's been going this year. He's getting opportunity. He's getting carries. It just hasn't worked out. Now, that could play into the fact that Green Bay has underachieved and they just haven't been winning games. You're talking about A.J. Dillon getting a bunch of rushing attempts, some garbage time opportunities in the red zone in games that they're leading. Well, they haven't really led that much this year. So to me, A.J. Dillon at 4,200 is still a bit risky. Would I rather play him over a kicker? Hey, maybe, because they're right in that same price range. Nobody's going to touch him because they probably hate him because he's probably ruined so many different lineups and leagues this year. Aaron Jones at 10.4K. He's on the field quite a bit. He's getting targets. Look at this last week: 10 targets, 4 targets, 3 targets. So he's getting some targets, especially last week. That was against Washington, so that what it is, even though they lost that game. Look, I'm rambling here, and by last week I meant week 7. I'm rambling here a little bit, but my point is he's going to get involved in the passing game. They don't have anybody to throw the ball to. He is basically the second wide receiver on this team almost, if you think about it. That means A.J. Dillon could be in the game as well with Aaron Jones out in the slot, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I must have missed it on my initial look. I didn't realize A.J. Dillon was that cheap. I understand that he hasn't been maybe putting up the production, but he's still getting 50% of the snaps, and he's getting half of the rushing attempts. He may have struggled a little bit last week, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, like that's what this Packers team is. They're struggling.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It might be interesting. You could probably capture the entire offense with Rodgers, AJ, and Aaron Jones, right?
Yep.
Handcuff it.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I think he makes for an interesting captain play. And I know I skipped over Aaron Jones, but Aaron Jones is great playing, especially in primetime. But I
Yeah.
like AJ Dillon a lot right now, man.
I mean, Aaron Jones, yes, in prime time, he's the man. But you look at some of the outputs that he's putting out. 6 points, 7 points. It's more of, hey, the team sucks, but he always has that slate breaking ability. If you wanted to fade him, I don't think that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, because he'll probably be one of the highest owned Packers. But the problem here that we're figuring out is all of these high price guys, they're all going to they're all going to be on the Bills side. People are going to spend up on Bills and try to find maybe some value on the Green Bay side. So if you put Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers in the lineup together along with our boy here, you probably could be different just by doing that. Let's move to the other side, Buffalo. So Devin Singletary, 7,200. He's a starting running back for the best team in the league. In theory, one of the best teams, at least, if you wanted to argue about the Eagles. A team that should be winning this game throughout, and potentially a lot of garbage time rushes. But nobody wants to play him. He's 7,200. He's probably getting, I don't know, where's he coming at snap wise? He's coming in, last week he got 87% of the snaps. The week before he got 50. On the season, he's at 70%. And he's running routes. He got 22 routes in week 6. So look, why is nobody playing Devin Singletary?
I think it's just everybody wants to jam in the studs, right? But again, like I think that there's a script in which you can play Devin Singletary. Like, 2 4s might be viable today, where you run Josh Allen. Like, if you want to do a Josh Allen captain lineup, it might be Josh Allen at captain and then Devin Singletary, right? And then running it back with a bunch of Packers. Like that might be a way to get different with Josh Allen. But look, man, the Green Bay's rush defense is not very good. And Devin Singletary, again, like I think there is a bit of a narrative, considering Alvin Kamara has 3 touchdowns so far today. Like that you see the Bills run the ball a little bit more to not be entirely dependent on a trade that may not happen, right?
Yeah.
So like I think Devin Singletary could see a little bit of an increase in volume here, man. And even then, 17 carries last week. If they're up by 10 points, like what they're handing the ball off.
To me,
I like Devin Singletary.
An interesting game script is, for me, the Devin Singletary at captain with Josh Allen in the flex, run back, and maybe throw in obviously Gabe Davis or one of these other stud wide receivers on Buffalo. Run it back with the passing garbage time, Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and whoever else cheap guy you could fit in on the other side. Singletary at 7,200 at captain. If he gets you 2 rushing touchdowns, a couple of receptions, man, you could fit a lot of studs in with him in the flex. Any interest in James Cook at 2K? Reggie Gilliam at 1,800. I'm not interested in Zach Moss. Hasn't really been good on the field. I think James Cook is obviously that number 2 / third down guy. Gilliam's on the field a lot as a fullback. We've seen him get random opportunities for touchdowns or just a couple receptions here and there. We're going to have to find value. We absolutely have to find value on the slate. James Cook at 2K, any interest?
Yeah, I prefer James Cook at 2K than I do Reggie Gilliam at 1,800. But again, look, if you're struggling for value, this is a great slate for it. You have 2 of the best quarterbacks in the world playing football today. So just take a guy that will see the field and has an opportunity to catch a pass, and I think you play him. But I think there might be cheaper guys than 1,000 and 1,800.
I mean, but James Cook, I mean,
I like James Cook.
Week 6, he only got 12% of the snaps, and the week before that, he only had 15. So it's still a dart throw. Yeah. That's why, to me, Devin Singletary will be the highest leverage player on the slate. If you want to get way above the field with him, his chances of scoring on this game are pretty high. Ellie, can you, while I'm pulling up the wide receivers, can you look up his odds to score a touchdown in this game on DK the DK Sportsbook? All right, let's go to wide receiver. Stephon Diggs, 11.8K. I want a whole lot of him, obviously. Gabe Davis, boom or bust. We know he can score 3 touchdowns. We know he can get you an 80-yard touchdown, 90-yard touchdown, or he can just do nothing. So that's the risk with Gabe Davis. His ownership is going to be maybe not quite half of what Stephon Diggs is, but it's definitely going to be significantly lower. Gabe Davis, to me, at a captain spot is where I'm super interested. Obviously, throwing him in the flex quite a bit, yeah, but you risk him getting a 6 fantasy point output or a 35-point fantasy output, something to that effect. So for me, Gabe Davis is probably one of my favorite captain options to be different. But Stephon Diggs, to me, I'm going to have a ton of him. There's just no way that we can get, unless we punt at captain, that we can get Stephon Diggs, Aaron Jones, and Josh Allen in a lineup together. That's going to be very, very difficult unless we completely go super punting in our last two spots. That's going to be tough. Ellie, what do you see?
All right, hey, real quick, who did you ask me to look up? I have it up right now. My bad.
Singletary.
Singletary, yeah, he's plus 115 to score a touchdown. He's third highest odds.
Third highest odds. And look at this guy. This guy's coming in, 25% ownership. Nobody's going to play him at captain. I'm not saying that Devin Singletary will be the highest scoring player on the slate. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is you can get some leverage by playing him in the flex or at captain because of his salary and the fact that he's probably going to score a touchdown in this game, especially if they're up in the second half. Isaiah McKenzie, 5,600. We've seen what he can do. Khalil Shakir, 3,800. We've seen what he can do. Every single one of these guys, maybe not Isaiah Hodgins, but you got four dudes who could score 2 touchdowns in a game. Stephon Diggs, the best, and you sprinkle in these other guys, right? What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Grab as many. If you want to play 4 wide receivers, play 4 wide receivers. It's probably crazy, but look, play these guys as much as you can. Hodgins, if he's active, I mean, shit, $200. Like if he's going to run a route and Josh Allen will throw it to him, I don't necessarily hate playing him either, right? Like I might be more comfortable in his $200 zero than an $1,800 zero from one of the backup running backs. So, but yeah, I mean, play the wide receivers. Stephon Diggs is one of the best in the world.
All right, Green Bay, Romeo Doubs, 4K, Sammy Watkins, 2,600, Christian Watkins. Did we skip injuries? We straight up skipped injuries, didn't we?
Did.
Okay, hang on one second. Let's talk about injuries. There's not a lot to talk about here. So let's just talk about it. Alan Lazard is out. Christian Watkins.
Yeah, just pain. It was pain everywhere.
He's questionable. Randall Cobb's obviously out with an ankle injury. So Christian Watson's questionable. There's still not a whole lot to talk about here. But no Alan Lazard, hence why the number 1 wide receiver on the Packers is 4K. So what do we do here, man? Do we spread ourselves out? Are we interested in going any 2 wide receiver lineups with Rodgers? What do we do with these basically all backups? There's not a real number 1. Even Lazard can probably not be considered maybe not a number 1, just a good number 2. But what do we do, man? Sammy Watkins, 2,600? I mean, hey, why not?
Yeah, man. Like all these guys are priced pretty nicely, and they're priced down here because Green Bay sucks so far. I do think that there's a good opportunity for Romeo Doubs to be the number 1 wide receiver. He's been getting a lot of work. Again, the offense has just been incredibly inconsistent, and we're betting on Aaron Rodgers at this point, right? So if he finds a wide receiver that he likes, he gets in those grooves, right? If Dobbs makes 1 catch and Watkins and Amari Rodgers all end up with a drop, then Dobbs could end up with 26 targets. And we all know how that happens with Aaron Rodgers. So I don't necessarily think you need to grab more than 2, but I think taking 2 wide receivers and stacking them with Aaron Rodgers is fine. Like, again, if they're going to stay in this game, like it's either Aaron Jones or Aaron Rodgers, and it's probably got to be Aaron Rodgers tonight.
Both of these wide receivers at that price tag have high upside. I think you got to try to sprinkle in at least one of these guys, at least one, because look, even if the Packers are getting their ass kicked in the second half, they're going to be throwing the ball, and there's probably you're going to rack up 6-7 receptions from these guys in garbage time. So even if you're doing onslaughts of Buffalo, I feel like the 1 or 2 the Packers that you put in your lineups, it should be one of these guys most likely. Anything else to add?
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, let me explain it this way. Like Aaron Rodgers is averaging about 35 attempts per game, 23, 24 completions. So there's still, even if you give the backs 10, that's 14 receptions that have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So
14 points.
Look, man,
yeah, exactly.
Grab one
with
of these
no
guys.
Yards. Exactly. Tight end. Yeah, there we go. We're on tight end now. Robert Tonyan, 6,200. Probably, if I had to say, he's probably the number 1 target besides Aaron Jones. Tonyan, 6,200. Look, Mercedes Lewis at 200. Josiah DeGuara, 200. Tyler Davis, 200. Look, I might end up with way too much Mercedes Lewis in this game, man. I'm pretty scared. But Tunyon at 6,200 is very interesting. Maybe a captain lineup or two for Tunyon, maybe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now look, the one thing about Tunyon is he's actually second in total targets to Romeo Doubs. Now, Tunyon has that connection with Aaron Rodgers, though, right? They've been together for years, and if it wasn't for a freak injury or whatever happened, what was that, last year or the year before?
It
Like
was
the dude
last
would
year, I
still
think.
be,
Yeah.
yeah, the dude would still be crushing. You know what I mean? Like he was on a tear that season,
He got injured
and
against the Cardinals in
you
week
know,
8 when they beat the Cardinals in that Thursday night game.
oh, okay, that's right, that's right. I hate Thursday night football, man. Those injuries are crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I love Robert Tonyan. Play him a captain. He could easily have 2 touchdowns tonight. And then these other $200 guys are not terrible. Don't play multiple of these guys, but if you think one of them catch a tight end or a touchdown, it's probably Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah, Mercedes Lewis. He did score a touchdown week 5. He doesn't really get, he's in there to block, and he's in there as a good guy to kind of, as a veteran leadership to kind of help this offensive line, help Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to get a lot of run or probably a lot of opportunity to catch the ball. But at $200, you just need one little play action on the 1 yard line, throw it to him in the corner of the end zone. You're talking about 7 fantasy points for a $200 guy. Might be enough to really help you get different. Buffalo, I really do think that Dawson Knox is going to get forgotten about in this game completely. And this is Dawson Knox probably is, if I had to pick one guy to break the slate, I think Dawson Knox is that guy because he's going to be under 20% owned potentially. No one's going to play him in the captain spot. It might be one of these guys that you try to prioritize, boost his projection in your optimizer, whatever you got to do, try to force him into your lineups. Are you interested in Dawson Knox?
Yeah, I'll probably be with the field unless I see him coming severely under to your point. But look, it's simple. Get everybody that you can from the Bills offense. Josh Allen's throwing for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns every game, right? Like, and just get somebody who can catch the ball and run after the catch or something. I think Dawson Knox could easily have 2 touchdowns in this game as well. So, yeah, play Dawson Knox, play him a captain.
Kickers and defense. So, we've been talking a lot about kickers lately because we kind of have to. These 2 kickers are pretty priced up, 4,400 and 4,600. Tyler Bass is the 4,600 guy. Bass, we know what he can do. The question here is, what do we think our game scripts are going to be? Do we think they're going to stall out in the red zone? You think, we really only need 2 50-yard field goals from either one of these guys to kind of threaten that optimal lineup. What do we do with these kickers? They're priced up a little bit. Would you rather just go down to 4,200 and pick up A.J. Dillon?
Yeah. The problem with the kickers on this slate is you have the skill players, the wide receivers, and AJ Dillon, all priced cheaper.
Right around, yeah, cheaper. So so in tournaments, to me, Mason Crosby is not really projected for much. Actually, let me see. I think there's this guy on the slate as well. I don't Ahmed. I've never heard of him. I don't know who the hell that is. But just keep an eye on who the kicker is going to be tonight. But I probably Crosby. But Crosby's not projected for anything. And you have Tyler Bass projected way too high, in my opinion, because these kickers, their median projections are much higher than other skill position players. To me, I think that I think that Bass is going to be over owned. Go ahead.
So look at this. Like, if you just, what would you think AJ Dillon is projected for? Like, at his price, you would think that he's projected for less than the kickers, right? Like, he's projected for about 25% more points, 30% more points, and half the ownership, or 70% of the ownership of the kicker. So again, like Romeo Doubs, he's projected for double-digit points, where the kickers are projected for single, right? So like, there's just so much better leverage to get, and there's still ownership discounts in comparison almost.
We got to make one big decision. The last few slates that I've sort of said, F it, I'm going to fade this person and get some leverage. And if he goes off, then it is what it is. I've done so well the last couple slates by doing that. Earlier in the season, I kind of took the safer approach and started doing more, try to spread myself out and try to get everyone I can just in case. That doesn't work as well. It just doesn't work. You got to make bold choices. To me, if I could save, if there's about 40% ownership going to either one of these kickers, I'm going to fade them potentially. Defense, Bills 5,400. They're going to get high on. They're a good defense, obviously. We know that. I expect to see some of them in the captain. I expect to see a lot of them in the flex. Thoughts on Bills defense? You're going to need a fumble recovery for a touchdown, punt return for a touchdown, block kick, interception, something like that for it to really pay off at 5,400.
Yeah, I'm not looking at their defense too much. That's just pretty expensive. I think special teams and kickers, or defense and kickers this slate are just not priced how they should be to make them viable. Normally I play them with the field, but I don't think I'll have exposure to either today.
Let's get to our crown their ass segment.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Ellie Diggs, obviously, and I think he's my favorite captain for this slate. For me, Gabe Davis at his price and his high upside, and the fact that he is, he's up and down. It's boom or bust sometimes with him. It allows me to put him in the captain spot more comfortably in more lineups. Anybody else here you want to talk about? Any other captain options that we're leaving out here?
Yeah, man. I think Aaron Rodgers is a unique one, depending on kind of where he lands with captain ownership. But it looks like he's coming a little under the radar. And don't forget, Aaron Rodgers can scramble. He could easily end up with a rushing touchdown. So I think that he's a good one to come off of. And then, bro, AJ Dillon at 4,200. I mean, look, he could easily have a 2-touchdown night, 100 yards, 10 receptions. Like, we don't know what Matt LaFleur is going to do with this offense. So those are just some other guys I think I'll have some exposure to.
Yeah, I expect to see some weird stuff coming out of this Green Bay team. They have nothing to lose. I mean, well, they do have a lot to lose by losing this game, but that's my point is they're going to have to give everything to try to win this game. It would make a huge statement. Imagine Green Bay winning this game in Buffalo. That'd be huge. Another guy we're obviously not talking about is Aaron Jones. Clearly, we want to get a lot of him at captain. And dude, putting Aaron Jones at captain naked with 5 run back or 2 4s with Aaron Jones at captain, I think that's a great option too. So our fades. So let's see. Let's bust out our fades here.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
So Ellie, are you still on this Bills starting running back? Even though we've kind of talked up Devin Singletary a little bit more.
Yeah, man. I'm still going to be fading him a decent amount. It just really depends where his final ownership lands. Until I see that those numbers are really where he's at, where he's coming in under 30%, then I'm going to be fading with him in mind. Because everything's indicating that we're going to get a pass heavy attack, right? So that's where I'm at with that. But as we get closer, man, I can see that changing. If he's really flying under the radar, then you can just scratch that off. Did the same thing to Gus Edwards on Thursday, right? As you get closer to lock, you realize your captain may not be the greatest captain play, so you got to make a decision. Just stay in the Discord with us, guys. I'll let you know. Yeah,
join our Discord, guys. It's free. We've got a handful of guys in there. It was awesome. It's awesome to kind of see people joining that. It's great to talk shop in there. Be sure you're in that Discord so we can update you as news comes out. All right, let's get into our lineup build. Let me switch over here. This is the optimal lineup when you just click a button. Josh Allen at captain, Sammy Watkins, A.J. Dillon, Romeo Doubs, Devin Singletary, Stephon Diggs. This is not a lineup I want to even talk about, but you're going to see with Josh Allen at captain, you got to do weird stuff. And sometimes I'm just not interested in getting that weird. So let's build a Josh Allen captain lineup that we're comfortable with that is a little bit different. Even though I don't think you and I are going to do a lot of Josh Allen captains. Well, how do we handle this? You want to do a 4-2? You want to do a 5-1? What do we do? Or do we do like a 2-4 here to get different?
Well, let's start with this. Do we have any value, like value
not
on
really.
Buffalo that we're interested in?
I mean, you got A.J. Dillon at 4,200. You got James Cook. You got the tight ends, a couple of those $200 tight ends.
Here, how about this? Let's do this. Let's do 2-4. Let's go Josh Allen and Devin Singletary.
Okay.
And then let's go Aaron Rodgers. And then, I kind of like Robert Tonyan.
Yeah, can we do Aaron Jones here?
Throw him in.
It's going to be tough. We got 4,300 for 2 spots. Here, let's not do Aaron Jones. Let's. I mean, yeah, let's go Tunyon and see where we're at. 8,500. I think you got to go. You got to go and get another one of these wide receivers like Dobbs or Sammy Watkins. Even what does that do
Yeah,
for
it's
us?
throwing
What
Watkins.
does that do for us in this last spot at 5,900? That gets us Isaiah McKenzie. So this is, this could be a 3-3, which I don't think is a huge deal. I think that does get you some leverage. I mean, look, Bills defense here. Yeah, maybe Dawson Knox. There's a lot of Bills in this that you would plug into this last spot, or you can just go Mason Crosby and leave 1,500 on the table. Is our best option roster construction, doing 2-4s, doing weird roster constructions, or do we want to leave a bunch of money on the table? Do you think that that's our best bet?
Well, so I prefer. I don't want to leave money on the table, man. There's too many high price studs that you're going to need to pay up for. So like something like this, the roster construction, running the 2-4, then having Allen and Singletary fading Diggs, I think is a really easy way to get different. So how about this? What if we come off Tunyon? Let's go down to Dobbs, leave in Watkins, and then just see kind of like what we can come up from the kicker spot there.
8,100. We can do a lot here. We can, well, not really, actually.
Not really.
Yeah, Tunyon, which is close to, sort of the same kind of thing. Tunyon, there's not a whole lot we can do. That's why I'm saying, like, these 4 Packer lineups, there's just not going to be a lot of them. There's really not.
All right. I got one more crazy one. All right, take out Aaron Rodgers and put in Aaron Jones.
Okay.
And then
probably pull one of these guys out, right?
Yeah, that's fine. You can pull out Watkins and Dobbs.
Okay.
Throw in AJ Dillon.
Yep.
And then actually go ahead and put Dobbs back in. Let's see where we're at.
Okay. 5,900, same sort of range.
Same awkward area.
I do think if you're running, if you're running this, you probably want to put one of his wide receivers in, especially with him a captain. I know he's running the ball a lot. I know he can get you 2 rushing touchdowns and maybe 60 rushing yards. But for me, I think if you got Josh Allen a captain, you got to plug in one of his wide receivers first. And I think Isaiah McKenzie as a pawn. Let's just put Gabe Davis in. So that actually gets us. That does get us the kicker here, so we can go Mason Crosby. So you got Josh Allen, Gabe Davis.
Yeah, I mean, you can swap out Crosby for Knox or Dawson Knox. What the fuck, for Tyler Bass? My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't hate that. I still don't know if I like Josh Allen and captain.
That's what I'm trying to say here, man. It's just I don't like it. I'm not comfortable with it that much. But maybe you need to get uncomfortable and in order to play tonight. But for me, I want to let's plug in Stephon Diggs at captain. Let's see if this is any easier. You do get about a $600 saving, so you're still going to be kind of in that awkward range. But having Diggs at captain, you don't necessarily have to put in a couple other wide receivers potentially. So Josh Allen, let's plug him in. Do you want to do Aaron Jones or Aaron Rodgers? Unfortunately, I think that's what we're going to have to choose from tonight in some of these Packer lineups. We're just going to have to pick between 2 of those guys because you just can't afford everybody.
Let's go. Let's run Rodgers on this one.
All right, Rodgers. Yeah, we're going to have to go middle of the road for a lot of this stuff. I think the big guys, AJ Dillon's, all these Packer wide receivers, you're going to have to fit in multiple of them. So if we went Dobbs, Watkins, or something to that effect, leaves you with 3,700. That gets you really nobody.
How about this? This is crazy, but just for our $200, we got a narrative guy. We got the Jake Kumaro revenge game.
Ah, Kumaro
coming back to play Green Bay. Yeah.
Wow.
Throw him in. I mean, hey, he's catching passes from Josh Allen. Why not?
Yeah.
And then throw in your boy Sammy Watkins. And what does that put us at?
Puts us at 7,500. What does that get us? That gets us Singletary. So now this this lineup has transformed into a 4-2. Hey, I don't mind it. Rodgers and Watkins. I mean, maybe that's kind of scary. You could, let's see, you can't get Aaron Jones instead of Rodgers there. But you could actually
pull out Singletary.
Yeah, let's
go up from Watkins and see what we can do.
Let's put Aaron Jones, and then instead of Singletary, you can get Tunyon, which you probably don't want to do without Aaron Rodgers, but you could. Or go Isaiah McKenzie. So you got Diggs, Allen, Kumaro, McKenzie with Aaron Jones and Watkins. I think this is kind of what we're going to be rolling with here. All right, where do you want to go now? Do you want to go to Gabe Davis and see if that does anything for us? Like, we could go to Aaron Jones, but we know what these high price captain lineups are going to be. They're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have to fade some major players here. So let's go down to Gabe Davis and see if that gets us anything. Let's go Gabe Davis with Josh Allen. Let's put in Aaron Rodgers. Let's put in our core. This is kind of our minus Davis. You got these three guys are kind of our core here. 5K. We can't do shit. You want to go $200 and put a kicker in or something? You want to, you could do any of these $200 or $400 guys could count, but for example, you put in Mercedes Lewis and then you put in a kicker, right? That's kind of all we got going on for us. 3-3 or you can do a 4-2. I don't know, bro.
You can even go down from Crosby down to AJ Dillon, A-Rod, Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, and then a $200 dude. I mean, that's not a terrible build. What if you want to try an AJ Dillon captain lineup?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what it gets us. I think middle of the road price guys tonight might get there for you. I really do. Josh Allen, we got to pair him. Now that we got a cheap guy, we got to put Allen and Diggs together. That is a dangerous stack that we should not avoid if possible. So AJ Dillon, do you want to put Aaron Jones in here with him, or will that? Let's see. It leaves us 9,300 for two spots. We can go middle of the road.
9,300 for two spots. And what? Let's see what's Aaron Rodgers?
He is 9.8K. Can't get him.
Oh, okay. Throw in. Let's go cheap on. I guess we could go Sammy Watkins. Let's go Romeo Doubs.
Okay, Romeo Doubs, 5,300. That gets us Dawson Knox. Hey, I like that. That's not bad. It also gets you Tyler Bass. It gets you Mason Crosby, et cetera, et cetera. This is a pure dart throw. AJ Dillon might get you 3 fantasy points. Who knows? But we're playing this as if he can get you 2 touchdowns.
All right, one last thing from this. Pull out Dobbs and Crosby.
Okay.
Throw in Jake Kumaro.
Okay. 9,100.
And then now you get Gabe Davis. Yeah, throw in Gabe Davis. Fuck it.
Singletary.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not liking. Oops, that's weird. I'm not really liking. I'm not liking what we've been doing here at all. Really. I mean, have you seen a lineup that you're like, oh man, I got to play this lineup? I haven't.
I will. That last one with AJ Dillon, I might have liked that a little bit too much. Look, dude. This is again one of those slates where you're gonna hear me say it's okay to play $200 guys. Like if you're gonna get a 0, have it be from a $200 guy so you can get up to Gabriel Davis instead of having to play Tyler Bass, right? Like,
yeah. So Singletary at captain, if you just click the button, Christian Watson, Dobbs, Rodgers, Diggs, and Allen. I don't hate that. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and by the way, that's a good one right there. Like if Christian Watson is active and ends up playing, I do like him at $1,400 then.
All right, man. So now that we've built a bit here, what are you taking out of this? What do we do? Thoughts on the builds? I think 3 3s get you leverage. If you do 2 4s with Bills and the captain, I think that gets you leverage. But what are you doing tonight after building some lineups? It's going to be tough.
Yeah, man. I think I'm going to get weird. I think I'm going to script a little bit more of a Packers winning or just being able to keep it tight scenario, and then stay heavy on that side of the ball. At the end of the day, like it doesn't make sense to play Devontae Adams just because he's Devontae Adams. He still has Derek Carr. You know what I mean? But if Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, he's going to get somebody open one of these times and they're going to score. So I'm going to close my eyes, play the guys if the salary fits, and hope for the best. I
think the key to the slate is the wide receivers for the Packers. Finding the right combination there is going to be huge. That includes, that does include the tight ends as well, obviously. What's your score prediction for tonight?
I'm going to go with 38 to 31 Buffalo.
Yeah, I think this could hit the over. I do think that is an interesting game script. If you wanted to play this as hitting the under, you could get a little different. But I'm thinking 35-31, 35-28 Bills. I think that the game can stay close, and then they sort of run away with it at the end there. Who's our low-owned guy that can score a touchdown tonight?
I mean, shit, the way it's looking, it might be Aaron Rodgers. But no, man, any of these wide receivers, like I like Sammy Watkins at less than 20% ownership. Does that count?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going Mercedes Lewis is getting a touchdown tonight. It's going to happen. Throw us a like, guys. Obviously, subscribe. We haven't been pounding that, in this show. We try to get directly to it. But if you guys are still with us right now, please subscribe. Just hit one button. It really helps us out. And then like this video. We try to get to about 50 likes per video. Help us out to get there for our goal today. And we will talk to you for Monday Night Football. We'll see you tomorrow.